She was texting you every day, laughing at your jokes, making plans. And then something shifted. The replies got shorter. She started canceling. You could feel her pulling away, but you had no idea what changed. And here's the thing. From a woman's perspective, this happens for one of two specific reasons. Not because you did something wrong, not because she met someone else. It's because something fundamental was missing from the beginning, and it finally caught up. Most guys never figure out which one it was. They just know it keeps happening. Different girl, same pattern. And if you're watching this, that's probably why you're here. You're tired of not understanding what went wrong. Here's what I'm going to show you. Women fall in love for two psychological reasons. And when one or both are absent, no amount of texting, effort, or good intentions can make up for it. I'll break down exactly what these two things are, how to tell which one you're missing, and more importantly, how to develop the one you've been lacking. Because once you understand this, that pattern stops. You stop being the guy she loses interest in, and you become the one she never forgets. Now, before I break down what these two reasons are, I need to be clear about something. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. I'm not here to teach you tricks to make a woman fall in love. What I'm going to show you is the psychology behind genuine attraction, the kind that leads to real connection, not short-term tactics. Here's the truth. Women don't usually talk about this stuff openly. We don't sit around saying, I need a guy who does X and Y. But subconsciously, we're always evaluating these two things. It's not a checklist we're aware of, but it's there. And when both are present, that's when we fall. When one or both are missing, that's when we pull away, even if everything else seems right. So before we get into what they are, you need to understand why most dating advice completely misses these, because once you see the gap, everything clicks. Most dating advice focuses on attraction. Be confident, be successful, dress well, make her laugh. And sure, those things can get her attention. They can even get you a few dates. But here's what nobody tells you. Attraction is not the same as love. You can attract a woman and still never make her fall for you. That's why she seemed interested at first. Maybe even really into you. And then something shifted. The attraction was there, but the foundation for love never was. Think about it. How many times have you heard just be yourself or treat her right? And how many times has that actually worked long-term? The problem isn't that this advice is wrong. It's that it's incomplete. It's surface level. It tells you what to do, but it doesn't explain the psychological mechanism behind what makes women actually fall in love, because love isn't random. It's not about luck or chemistry or the right person at the right time. Women fall in love when two specific psychological needs are met. And when one or both are missing, no amount of flowers, compliments, or effort is going to change that. That's the gap. And once you see it, you'll understand exactly why things didn't work before, and more importantly, what to do differently now. Here's exactly what I'm going to walk you through. First, I'll break down reason 1, the psychological need that creates safety and vulnerability. Then reason 2, the need that creates aspiration and polarity. You'll understand why both are required and what happens when one is missing. From there, I'll show you how to diagnose which one you're lacking right now. Because chances are, you're stronger in one and weaker in the other. And finally, I'll give you the exact steps to develop what you're missing. Practical, actionable things you can start doing today. By the end of this, you'll have complete clarity on why past relationships didn't work, and what you need to do to make sure the next one does. So if you're serious about understanding what actually makes women fall in love, stay with me. Let's start with reason 1. Emotional safety. Now, when most guys hear emotional safety, they think it means being nice, being agreeable, never challenging her, always saying yes. And then they wonder why she sees them as a friend instead of a romantic partner. That's not what emotional safety means. Emotional safety is when a woman feels like she can be vulnerable with you without being judged, dismissed, or having you try to fix everything. It's when she can have a bad day, be moody, express fear or insecurity, and you stay grounded. You don't panic. You don't take it personally. You just hold space for her emotions without making them about you. Here's why this matters. Women can't fall in love unless they feel safe enough to be vulnerable. That's how attachment forms. When she opens up and you handle it well. When you validate her feelings without overreacting or trying to solve every problem. Oxytocin bonds start forming. That's the neurochemical foundation of love. Without vulnerability, there's no bonding. And without safety, there's no vulnerability. So think about the woman who pulled away. Did she ever really open up to you? Did she share her deeper emotions? Her fears? Her insecurities? The things she doesn't tell most people? Or did conversations stay surface level if she never got vulnerable with you? That's a clear sign. Reason one was missing. And here's the mistake most guys make. They confuse being agreeable with being safe. They think if they never disagree, never set boundaries, never challenge her, she'll feel comfortable. But that actually creates the opposite effect, because emotional safety isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about being solid enough that she knows her emotions won't destabilize you. When you react to her mood by getting defensive, or trying to cheer her up immediately, or asking what's wrong, over and over, you're signaling that you can't handle her emotions, and if you can't handle them, she can't trust you with them, which means she'll keep that wall up. And if the wall stays up, love doesn't develop. So here's your diagnostic question. Does she feel comfortable being her full emotional self around you, not just the happy, easy version? The stressed, moody, uncertain version too? If the answer is no, you're missing reason one. But here's the thing most guys don't realize. Reason one alone isn't enough. You can be the safest, most emotionally supportive guy in the world, and she'll still only see you as a friend if you're missing reason two. Because safety creates the foundation for love, but it doesn't create the attraction. And without both, you're stuck in the friend zone wondering what went wrong. Which brings us to reason two. Aspirational polarity. This is the part most dating advice completely ignores. And it's also the harder one to develop, which is why so many guys get stuck in the friend zone even when they're emotionally supportive. Here's what aspirational polarity means. It's when a woman sees you as someone she aspires to be around, not just because you're successful or good-looking, though those things can play a role, but because you represent growth, direction, and certainty in how you move through life. You're grounded in your own frame. You have standards. You're going somewhere. And being with you feels like leveling up, not settling in. From a psychological standpoint, this taps into hypergamy, not in the toxic way people throw that term around, but in the real sense that women are wired to evaluate men through a future projection lens. She's not just asking, do I like him right now? She's asking, do I respect how he handles life? Does his presence make me better? Is this someone I'd be proud to be with? And here's where the polarity part comes in. Polarity means contrast. It means you're not trying to merge into her emotional state or mirror her constantly. You maintain your own emotional center. When she's stressed, you stay calm. When she's uncertain, you stay certain. When she tests you, and she will, you don't fold. You hold your frame. Most guys fail at this because they think the way to keep a woman interested is to be available 24/7, to agree with everything she says, to change their plans whenever she changes hers. They think that's what being supportive looks like, but what it actually does is kill polarity. Because if you're always reacting to her, always seeking her approval, always adjusting your behavior based on her mood, you're not grounded in yourself. You're grounded in her. And that's not attractive. That's exhausting for her. Think about it from her perspective. If she can control your mood, your decisions, your self-worth with a single text or a shift in her energy, she doesn't feel like she's with a man who can lead. She feels like she's babysitting someone who needs constant reassurance. And that's not what creates long-term attraction. That creates resentment. So here's your diagnostic question for reason 2. Does she respect how you handle life? Does she ask for your perspective on things? Does she admire your ability to stay calm under pressure? Or do you find yourself constantly seeking her validation, changing your behavior based on her reactions, and feeling like you're walking on eggshells? If you're the guy who's always available, always accommodating, always putting her mood above your own center, you're failing at reason 2, and no amount of emotional support is going to make up for the lack of polarity she feels. Now here's where it gets really interesting. And this is something most guys completely miss. These 2 reasons don't work in isolation. They work together. And the sequence matters. Safety without polarity is the friend zone. You're emotionally supportive. You're there for her. She can talk to you about anything. But there's no spark, no tension, no attraction. She sees you as her therapist or her best friend, not as a romantic partner. Polarity without safety is short-term attraction. She's intrigued. She's chasing. There's chemistry. But she never opens up. She never lets her guard down, because she doesn't trust that you can handle her vulnerability. So the relationship stays surface level, and eventually, she pulls away because there's no depth, no real connection. When both are present, that's when women fall in love. She feels safe enough to be vulnerable, which creates the oxytocin bonding, and she respects you enough to feel that tension, that polarity. That sense of being with him makes me better. That combination, safety plus aspiration, is what creates lasting romantic love. Here's the part most guys get wrong. They try to build polarity first. They think they need to be the mysterious, unavailable guy to create attraction. But if you lead with polarity before she feels safe, she'll never open up. And if she never opens up, the relationship stays shallow. So you get short-term attraction that fizzles out. The right sequence is this. Establish safety first. Show her that she can be vulnerable with you, and you won't crumble or try to fix everything. Once that foundation is there, then bring in polarity. Maintain your frame. Keep your standards. Don't become the guy who drops everything for her. The combination of I feel safe with him, and I respect how he moves through life is what makes her fall. So here's your diagnostic framework. Which one are you missing? If she's never vulnerable with you, you're lacking safety. If she's vulnerable but doesn't respect how you handle life, you're lacking polarity. And if you're confused about which one it is, ask yourself, does she open up to you? Or does she keep her guard up? Does she admire your decisions? Or does she seem frustrated by how you handle things? Most guys are strong in one and weak in the other. The question is, which one do you need to develop? So let's talk about how to develop reason 1. Emotional safety, if that's what you're missing. First, you need to stop trying to fix her emotions. When she's upset, stressed, or frustrated, your instinct might be to immediately offer solutions. Have you tried this? What if you just, maybe you should, stop. That's not what she needs. What she needs is for you to acknowledge what she's feeling without making it a problem to solve. Instead, try this. That sounds frustrating. I can see why that would stress you out. That makes sense given what you're dealing with. Simple validation. You're not fixing, you're not dismissing, you're just reflecting back that you hear her and her emotions are valid. Second, when she's moody or distant, don't take it personally. Most guys panic when her energy shifts. They start asking what's wrong, over and over, or they get defensive, or they assume it's about them. That reaction signals that you can't handle her emotions, which makes her feel like she needs to manage your feelings on top of her own. Instead, give her space without withdrawing. You can say something like, "Seems like you've got a lot on your mind. I'm here if you want to talk, but no pressure." That tells her you're solid enough to not be destabilized by her mood, but you're still available if she needs you. That's safety. Third, Don't overreact to vulnerability. When she finally does open up about something deeper, an insecurity, a fear, something she doesn't usually share, your response in that moment is critical. If you dismiss it, minimize it, or try to immediately cheer her up, she'll register that as unsafe and won't open up again. Instead, just sit with it. Let there be a pause. You don't need to have the perfect response, just acknowledge it. Thank you for telling me that. I know that's not easy to share. That's it. That simple acknowledgement creates safety. Here's the timeline. If you start practicing these things consistently, you'll notice a shift within a week or two. She'll start sharing more. She'll feel more comfortable being her full self around you, not just the easy and happy version. And that's when the oxytocin bonding starts happening. That's when safety turns into the foundation for love. But remember, safety alone isn't enough, which is why we need to talk about developing reason 2. Developing reason 2, aspirational polarity, is harder because it requires something most guys struggle with: killing your need for her approval. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Polarity isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being grounded in your own frame while still being present with her. That means you have your own life, your own purpose, your own standards, and you don't compromise those things just because she's having a moment. So here's what that looks like in practice. When she cancels plans last minute, you don't spiral. You don't text her 10 times asking if everything's okay. You say something like, "No problem. Catch you another time." And you go do something else. You maintain your plans. Your schedule doesn't revolve around her availability. That's frame control. When she tests you, and she will test you, you don't react emotionally. Women test men to see if they're solid. She might say something dismissive, pull back for a few days, or create a little drama to see how you respond. If you panic, chase, or get defensive, you've failed the test. If you stay calm, unbothered, and maintain your standards, you've passed. Here's the key. Your emotional state should not be dependent on her emotional state. If she's stressed, you stay calm. If she's upset, you don't mirror that upset. If she withdraws, you don't chase. You maintain your center, because when you're grounded, she feels that, and that's what creates polarity. But here's the part that trips most guys up. They think this means being unavailable or playing games. It doesn't. It means being selectively available. You're present when it matters. You're engaged when you're together. But you're not dropping everything every time she changes her mind. You're not rearranging your life around her moods. You have your own direction. And she fits into that, not the other way around. The timeline on this, it's longer than developing safety because it requires internal work. You need to genuinely stop seeking her validation. You need to build a life you're proud of, independent of whether she's in it. But if you commit to this, you'll start seeing shifts in a few weeks. She'll respect you more. She'll chase more. She'll invest more, because you're no longer the guy waiting for her approval. You're the guy who's already approved of himself. And that brings us to the most important thing I need to tell you, something most guys never figure out, which is why they fail at reason 2 even when they try. Here's the truth. Most guys won't accept. Reason 1 is learnable. You can develop emotional safety with practice. But reason 2, aspirational polarity, most guys will never develop. Not because they can't, but because it requires completely killing your need for her validation. That's the real obstacle. Women can sense when you're performing polarity versus embodying it. If you're checking her reactions to see if you're doing it right, you're not doing it right. If you're maintaining frame but secretly hoping she'll notice, you're still seeking approval. And that kills the polarity. True polarity only exists when you're grounded in your own value independent of her response. You maintain your standards because they're your standards, not because you think it'll make her chase. You stay calm because you're centered, not because it's a tactic. Here's why this is hard. It means being okay with the possibility she never comes back. Your self-worth can't be tied to whether she falls in love with you. If it is, she'll feel that, and it'll repel her. Now, I'm not saying be cold or uncaring. I'm saying this. Would you still maintain your standards even if she never came back? Would you still be proud of how you're living even if she doesn't choose you? If the answer is no, if you're doing this just to get her back, you're missing the point of reason 2. And that's actually good news, because it means you don't need her approval to know you're on the right path. So here's what I want to know. Which of the 2 reasons do you struggle with more? Is it reason 1, creating emotional safety and being the guy she feels comfortable being vulnerable with? Or is it reason 2, maintaining that polarity and not seeking her validation? And have you ever lost a woman because you had one but not the other? Maybe she felt safe with you, but there was no spark. Or maybe there was attraction but she never really opened up. Drop a comment and let me know. I read every single comment, and I'll give you specific guidance based on your situation. This isn't just about this one topic. This channel is about giving you the clarity nobody else will. No fluff. No games. Just the psychology that actually works. Because here's the truth. Women don't fall in love randomly. They don't fall for mystery or luck, or the right timing. They fall for these 2 specific things: emotional safety and aspirational polarity. Now you know what they are. Now you know which one you need to work on. Develop both, and you become unforgettable. And when you do, she'll realize exactly what she lost.